Blessings to everyone. Thought I'd take a moment to talk to you guys briefly. Just taking a little pause here. Decided to come sit in my car versus sitting in a conference room or in my office. I wanted to just come and sit in the car and just really talk to you for a brief moment. Just really thinking about the whole situation that took place in Buffalo, New York. My heart goes out to our brothers and sisters out there. And, just really been reflecting on the whole situation. And, family, we got a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Because I was sitting here kind of reflecting, so to speak, on the situation. And Abbott Cole, inferiority complex, actually it's a combination of the two, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Because you guys see the thought for today, my and the title is white supremacist, right? It should really be called superiority complex, which connects to inferiority complex. Those two go hand in hand. See, when we think of superiority complex, we think that this person or individual or someone that's suffering from that, they are great. They are at the top of the mountain and just don't know how to deal with it, right? So actually, superiority complex is actually the opposite. It's someone who exaggerates their perception of themselves, right? The perception of themselves, rather, and they try to project that. So when you're dealing with someone that is suffering from a superiority complex, they think that they have done certain things that they really haven't accomplished, or they want to place so much emphasis on what they think that they've accomplished, which they haven't. Just keeping it simple, right? So when you're dealing with people that are dealing with, for example, the national white supremacists, right? They're suffering from superiority complex, right? Which many of these guys, I've read their handbook over the weekend. The national white supremacist manifesto, or I read that, and in there, right, they exaggerate of their accomplishments, right? They want to make it seem like they accomplished so much, right? For example, even in that handbook, they talk about making things better, bringing back the old, making things old become, put them back on top again, so to speak. And really, when you start really unpacking, their narrative, right? Think about this country. This country was built on the backs of our brothers and sisters, our lost brothers and sisters, our lost fathers and mothers who were kidnapped, who were raped, who were murdered, right? Who was forced into building this entire country. Our people built this, not the Caucasians, not these white supremacists. When you look at some of the major inventions that are out here, who came up with them? It was our people. Who created the light bulb? In that what they call it, I can't. I forgot what they call the piece that's within it. That little looks like a coil, a really tiny coil, right? That was created. That was invented by us. When you start understanding the details of the creation of the telephone, that was created by us. The street lights, created by us. Hair clippers, created by us. Even hair growth products, created by us. Right? When we really start going down the list of accomplishments that we did not get credit for, right? These guys actually believe that they were the ones that actually created these things, invented these things. So when you're dealing with a superiority complex, this is someone or a group of people that is exaggerating their accomplishments. They are exaggerating, you know, uh, the perception of how they see themselves. You guys been around people like that that have a superiority complex. They lie about everything. They want to exaggerate. Let's just say being out there in the streets. You have a lot of preachers, right? Uh, Exaggerating, how their life was prior to transitioning over to being saved, so to speak. They'll fabricate stories of how rough they had it coming up, living in the streets and had to fight and all these different things. And you actually do the research, the backdrop on these many of these preachers, they haven't even they never experienced any of the things that they put out there. See, that's a complex. That's a superiority complex. Now, an inferiority complex works similar, but the kicker is, right, their response is competition. See, when you're dealing with someone that's dealing with a superiority complex, and then you compare it with also a inferiority complex, that's where the competition, that's where you see the behaviors come in. This is where you see, far as uh, you know, what transpired over the weekend. When you read the manifesto, even though that still haven't been released to us, right? Thank you, you love for filament. That's couldn't remember the name of it, but filament, right? So I appreciate that with the light bulb. So when you're dealing with people that are dealing with these inferiority, superiority complex, they both go hand in hand, right? That's the issue, right? They have to exaggerate who they are and their accomplishments. And then when you get into this the inferiority complex portion of it, this is where you see the competition. This is where you start seeing their behaviors. This is where you start seeing the end results of their delusion. Competition, that's the key. Competition. Become very aggressive in what they do. That's what we see happening right now. And some of the buzzwords went after reading that manifesto. It's this thing to preserve what they deem to be the pure white race. They are dealing with what they call white, uh, what is it called? White identity. I forgot the full term, but white identity. That's basically what, when you're dealing with a white supremacist, you're dealing with white identity, a white identity crisis, right? And they want to make white, right, that race, white, the white race, they want to approach it from as if it's a ethnicity, right? So when you look at white supremacists, actually they should be referred to as people that are suffering from a superiority slash inferiority complex. Superiority, exaggeration, extreme exaggeration. And again, we could go right down the list of the things that we've accomplished, from blood transfusions to creating penicillin to how surgery is done today. It's a number of different things that we created. The shoes, as far as the machine to make shoes, and we created so much. So when you think about this, that's what white supremacy is. And I also want to talk about real quick too is, have you guys noticed how the narrative is being painted about this perpetrator, Peyton Gendron, or whatever his name is? You see how the media is really playing with words, word choices, word selection. You notice how they're doing the playbook of trying to paint a picture of a innocent child who lost his way or was suffering through the pandemic, being isolated. And so basically he just kind of couldn't deal with being alone. Notice how they're referring to the community that he came from as the community is in shock, disbelief of what occurred. The community start trying to bear witness in these articles, of stating how good the parents were. You see the news coming out with describing or giving you information about the father being an engineer, all these different things, right? You notice the projection, right? The difference in how media cover our people, right? When we think about how uh, the law enforcement murdered some of our brothers and sisters innocently, right? Our brothers and sisters were demonized. They were uh, actually made into criminals, while the police officers, the perpetrators, were made into the victims. If you go back and you look at all these shooters, right? These Caucasian shooters, these white shooters, you'll see the commonality. Oh, such and such, they were suffering from depression because of a loved one, or this person, like the Las Vegas shooter, they tried to put the blame on the medication he took. The Las Vegas shooting that took place about 4 or 5 years ago, they tried to equate that to this person, the side effects of the drugs that he was taking for depression, for mental issues. Notice how they had this shooter show up in the courtroom the same day of the shooting, pleading not guilty, had paper clothing on, as if he just came out of a mental psych ward. You think that they would do that for our people? You think that if any one of our brothers and sisters committed a crime like that, would even live to see the day? We got brothers and sisters that are being murdered by law enforcement for not doing anything wrong. But look at how the media is portraying these things. This person had nigga written on his gun. This person was staking out this location for quite some time, since the beginning of the year. He made a number of trips to this place. It wasn't his first time going to visit that place, right? But why is it that his information, why is it this information is not, it's being withheld? Why did they all of a sudden now scrubbing down the internet, removing any video of the shooting itself and removing the manifesto itself, right? Now you have to depend on those others to tell you what's in it. I got an idea what's in it because I have a copy of a white supremacist manifesto. But the unfortunate thing is, look at how the media is getting in front of this thing. They want to make it clear to each and every one of us that, oh, the shooter acted alone. No, he didn't. The shooter didn't act alone. When you start reading this national white supremacist manifesto, you'll see the talking points of make America great again. You'll see those same talking points that the current politicians are using right now. Even how they approach, for example, immigrants. Oh, they come in to take our jobs, right? They promote that fear. This is white supremacy, right? Or the superiority complex / inferiority complex group of people, right? They want to paint this picture of being wiped out. They want to paint this picture that they are genocide is occurring to them. They are being subjected to genocide, which they call the Great Replacement. The Great Replacement theory, right? But yet, we had our identity taken from us, which is called replacement theology. The Christianity teach and push replacement theology, which comes from covenant theology, right? They teach that the church replaced Israel. They misquote and make basically Israel into a allegory in order to promote this. The church has replaced Israel, taking it all out of context Galatians, right? So you have replacement theology. Notice we said white replacement theory versus replacement theology. Theos, the study of, right? Ology, right? Theos, the most high, right? Ology, study of. So replacement theology, covenant theology. So they replaced the covenant pretty much given to Israel. It was given to the non-blood descendants of Israel. They tell Israel that and teach their group of people that you don't have to honor the law, statutes, and commandments anymore of the Most High, but you better honor that Constitution. You better fight for that Constitution. See the warped teaching, the ideology behind that. So when you're dealing with replacement theory, right? These guys really believe in their minds that they are being replaced by melanated people. Melanated people. They, man, there's so many things to unpack in this this uh, this book that I read, written by these guys. I have to do a whole live on that, and we're gonna do a actual live on this here. I'm just kind of talking and just kind of going off the top, going off the cuff. So when you look inside, I mean, when you see this topic here, right? I encourage you guys to look up superiority complex, and you will see that it's not what you think it means. It's totally the opposite of what you think it means. So again, superiority complex is dealing with a group of people or someone, individual, who has an extreme way of viewing themselves. Right? So going back to this perpetrator, right? And I'm getting ready to wrap this up because I got to get ready to run. This perpetrator, right, murdered these people. And you see him being arrested without a single mark. Fully armed, protected. Where did he get the money from to purchase all these things? And when you watch the video, I saw the video and it's not good. But he was very calculated. As he was going through, it's so sad. You see senior citizens, a mother pleading for her life, and he shoots her. You see him going he's inside the supermarket, going between the aisles, especially when you look at the cash register. He see a white guy, a white man, laying on the floor, and he began to plead. He pleaded, it's real quick. He pleaded for his life, saying, please don't shoot. And the perpetrator said, in a nutshell, what he said was to him, oh, I'm sorry. And it kept going. He had his gun and everything set up and how he was recording it as a video game. As a video game. But family, don't want to get off my point though. Again, look at how the media is putting the information out there. Showing images of his family. Showing him being a football player. Showing him in a good light. But wait a minute, I want to see his manifesto. Think about that. If that was our people, I have our business all over the internet. But why did they take down his manifesto so we can see? But they are commenting on his manifesto, but we can't read his full page. What is it, 180 pages? Because that tells you this kid, well, I'm not going to refer to him as a kid. This guy, right, had a plan. That template came from somewhere. He didn't act alone. He pulled that trigger by himself. But guess what? It was others that was part of that planning. It was others he got that information from. You don't just stumble across and do what he did. And I'm going to post some videos up. I'm going to work on one tonight, and I'm going to upload. I got a few videos I'm going to try to upload over the next couple of days, so that way you guys can see. You guys can really learn a few additional things about what you just witnessed, because I'm going to share some stuff that you're going to that's going to be an eye opener with you guys. All right. So with that being said, family, that's why I titled this video the way that I titled it. White supremacy, right, should be referred to as uh, superiority complex, inferiority complex. Again, when I say superiority complex, it's not what you think. It's totally the opposite, right? Simply put, someone that's exaggerating about their accomplishments, someone exaggerating of how they see and how they perceive themselves, right? So that's what someone that's dealing with that complex, that's where it comes from. And then someone that is it ties right into what you call inferiority complex. Same thing, but it takes a little goes a step further with their actions. So appreciate it, you guys. Appreciate it. I thought I saw the name NY. I didn't see it. Thank you guys. If you guys got a copy of it, please forward it to me. If you have a copy of the manifesto, please locate me. My email address is on the We Woke Now. But please uh, notify me. Please get it to me. Please get it to me, because I want to really go into it, and I want to present it to you guys, so you can see why this manifesto is not being presented publicly. Why it's not being presented publicly. The questions that we all are asking. I want to read it, because I believe when you read that manifesto, it's going to tie right into June or January 6th, where when the insurrection, when the insurrection took place last year. It's going to tie right into it. And again, from just the National White Supremacist Manifesto, you see the talking points there. So if you have a copy of it, please forward it to me. Shoot me an email uh, so that way I can read it, because I really want to read what he stated, because it's going to reveal his sources. I want to read it, and I want to know why that is being uh, kept away from us. C Thrower, my email address is wearewokenow@gmail.com. We are woke now at gmail.com. I'll say it one more time. We are woke now at gmail.com. So if you have a copy of the PDF, please forward it to me, because I do want to touch on that. I do want to read it, and I want to really discuss it properly in this full length, and not depend on media trying to filter information to us. All right. Yeah, see through. Yeah, forward all of that to me off to my email address, and we'll go from there. We'll really go in on these things, because notice how suddenly they trying to bring up other so-called hate crimes with Asians and all these different things to try to, dilute what actually transpired this past weekend. So forward it to me, C Thrower. I really appreciate it. And man, I really appreciate it. That's a gem. That's a jewel. And I mean it from a perspective of not being proud of it, but I want to get this information to our people. All right. So it's pertinent information. Pertinent information. And we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to schedule some lives, and we are going to talk about it. And Ruhama, my cousin Ruhama, rather, uh, thank you for the video. We'll talk about that video as well. But family, I got to get ready to run. I got a meeting I got to get ready to get into. I got it's at 3:30, so I'm not sure what time it is, but we'll connect. We'll schedule some lives, and we'll discuss it. All right, love you, family. Be encouraged. Shalom.